Good afternoon, everyone. It's Coram and Ken Shreve here with a breakdown of the action in today's session, Thursday, February 22nd, where we saw super strong gains across the board for the major indexes, fueled by yet another blowout earnings report from chip leader Nvidia, Ken.
Yes, indeed. Nvidia held gains throughout the session. It was really an incredible performance after another strong earnings report. I have three stocks to look at today. One's going to be in the technology sector and two outside of the tech sector. First is going to be ServiceNow in the enterprise software group, NOW. Also want to take a look at property and casualty insurer Kinsale, KNSL, holding gains really well after a big earnings surge. And then also in the oil and gas sector, TechnipFMC, FTI is the symbol there.
Okay, well, we'll take a look at those three stocks, but first let's analyze the major indexes.
The Nasdaq, nice move above the 16,000 level, and it came to it's less than 200 points from its November 21st intraday high. So Nasdaq flirting with an all-time high for the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq. The S&P 500 and the Dow, I should say, scored all-time closing highs today. Got some decent volume behind today's gains, so that was a positive. Breadth once again pretty disappointing. Big percentage gains for the Nasdaq and the S&P 500, but breadth was only barely positive on both exchanges, so that was not good to see, but a lot of strong action beneath the surface.
Very impressive stuff. And Ken, can you talk about the kind of moment that you think we're in for this rally and bull market, and what that means for how investors should be approaching their portfolios?
Yeah, I mean it's kind of tricky right now because a lot of us that invest in growth stocks at Investors Business Daily, we're looking at the indexes and a lot of individual growth stocks that have been running higher for some time. So it's getting tougher and tougher to find actionable setups out there. So that's what makes it challenging. I mean, people might have been underinvested going into today. Where can you put money to work? Are you going to chase a name like Nvidia? You just want to avoid chasing performance in a market like this. So that's what's challenging. But we're seeing some leadership pop up outside of the technology sector. So we'll look at a couple of names there today. But it's a tricky market. I mean, if you've been putting money to work in late October, early November, sitting on some big gains, even if you trim some positions back and you have some exposure, that's good. But just be careful about putting new money to work. Make sure you're not buying a second, third tier stock. You really want to focus on the leaders here, but wait for the pullbacks.
Couldn't agree more with you, Ken. And since the S&P 500 hit another new record high here today, let's take a look at that.
Yeah, that's just in a nice strong uptrend. You see it hit that low of 4103, and right around late October, that's when we saw the follow-through day. So this has been a confirmed uptrend that has just been going like gangbusters, and like you said, an all-time closing high today for the S&P.
Let's check in on the 10-year Treasury yield situation. Is this impacting markets at all? It didn't seem like today.
Yeah, not today. We had a little upward movement in that 10-year Treasury yield, and the Fed, has dialed back expectations of, a lot of rate cuts this year. At one point, the market was kind of thinking there could be 6 or 7 rate cuts. Now they're more in line with what the Fed's latest dot plot showed, and it's about maybe three rate hikes between now and the end of the year. So rising interest rates didn't bother the Nasdaq today. It was really focused on that really another blowout earnings report from Nvidia.
And in terms of sector ETFs, what are you watching, Ken?
Well, I want to take a look at XLY. This is the consumer discretionary, which was actually the best performing ETF of the S&P 500's 11 sectors. So top holding here is Amazon. Gets about a 25% weighting, I think. So it's a pretty heavily weighted stock in XLY. Amazon trading up near highs. Tesla's another top weighting, and Booking is also in the top 10 holdings here, and they're reporting earnings after the close. So we'll check in on Booking and see what their numbers look like, and it looks like it's down. in after-hours trading. So, but like the action in XLY today was the best performing sector, and looked like you had a little buy signal here for the consumer discretionary ETF.
Yeah. Okay. Let's take a look at ServiceNow, ticker NOW, up 2.8%, but closing off highs, still a bounce off of the 10-week line. And this is a current position for me, Ken. Over to you.
Yeah, this is a leaderboard holding, and the daily chart, it tried to move back above those short-term moving averages, the 10-day and the 21-day. Sellers kind of knocked the stock near session lows, still a gain of nearly 3% for the session. If we go to the weekly chart here, what I do like is this is just a good, solid second test of the 10-week moving average, and you can see the price action so far this week, still holding in the upper half, and I would say this would be a constructive week for ServiceNow if it can kind of close right where it is right now and at least show a nice weekly gain in the upper half of its range, not that extended from its 10-week line. So this is a rare example. If you do have some money to put to work here, according to the IBD buy rules, this is a second test of the 10-week line, and that would put the stock in an alternate buy zone. I would wait and see what the market looks like tomorrow and see if, again, ServiceNow can manage a good weekly close in the upper half here.
Okay, and next on our list, let's now go to another stock that we are watching very closely, and that ticker is KNSL. So let's go over there, Ken. What are you seeing here?
Well, this has been a mainstay in a lot of our growth screens. It's been really a long time top performer in the stock market. You can see that explosive earnings move last week when shares were up sharply, and I really like the price action so far this week. You can see how it's not giving up any ground after that huge price gain next week. If you switch to the daily chart for a slightly different perspective, you can see the real bullish earnings gap earlier in the week, and then those two down days were very, very orderly. You can see that it really didn't lose much ground, closed off lows both days, volume kind of shrank, and now it's just kind of sitting right there. So when you see price action like this, it's a sign of strength and support, and tells me that Kinsale, which is in a pretty good industry group in the market right now, a lot of insurers are outperforming. This one could have some more upside left.
And last but not least, let's take a look at FTI. Please give us your take here, Ken, up 6% today.
Well, if we're looking for other areas in the market that could do well this year, seeing some recent outperformance in oil and gas stocks. Still some questions about the U.S. economy and how much is growth going to slow, and really a slowdown in the rest of the world as well. So what that means for the demand picture for oil is a little uncertain, but I do like this machinery and equipment stock. It was formed, merged, Technip, the French company, merged with FMC Technologies back in, I think it was 2017, 2016, something like that. This is a good base forming. It's a stock that still looks like it's under some accumulation here. Had a recent breakout over a trend line, so you obviously had an early entry, but if you just want to put this one on the watch list, see if it can get up closer to that left side high, and then maybe it adds a handle. But I think this is a name worth watching in the machinery equipment group. And again, starting to see some isolated names in the oil and gas sector acting pretty well. Weatherford WFRD is another name that was talked about on IBD Live this morning. WFRD that's breaking out to new highs, and it's in the same industry group as TechnipFMC. So that's good to see. You want to see kind of broad leadership in a group, and looks like you have it here.
All right. Well, thank you, Ken, and thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll be back with more tomorrow morning on IBD Live. We hope you join us. We'll see you then. Bye now.